Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. As of right now, I don't know what I'm gonna name this video, but you see the title, so I guess I picked the name out already. Um, I just want to do another like talking head think piece about, these foreign dramas we watch, and I just kind of want to, I guess, go over some of the tropes I've been seeing forever, I guess, and kind of understand why we kind of don't challenge these tropes or these narrative choices or why we're so content with what we get most times. I know most shows nowadays are a little bit more woke, a little more like, progressive. However, it with those things being corrected, something else gets pulled more to the forefront, and I just want to talk about it because I was getting frustrated. And what I want to talk about is I guess since I watched episode 5 and 6 of Star in My Mind, it got me to thinking, why are these characters not communicating? Why is the tension brought between them because of themselves? If, in fact, these characters like each other. I can understand people being stubborn and kind of, maybe not divulging their true feelings. And, that archetype is like, what's it called? Tsundere, where they're kind of like, you know, abrasive and closed off, but slowly they warm up. I've seen that done in different shows. It's popular in anime. It's also, you see that in American shows, especially cop dramas. The two leads are kind of like butting heads, but then, they realize they like each other and it's done like a slow burn kind of thing. Um, the thing about it is, though, lots of times those shows have something else going on with them beyond the potential romance, and it leads to kind of a break from the tension and kind of something else for the characters to do. I feel like these BL dramas don't have anything for the characters to do at all. The whole show is mostly their relationships, and I've always complained about this. I just don't understand the point of that. Like, give, even if it's about the characters, we'll make it about the characters. Let's have a romance, but also let's talk about these characters as individual, as people. 'Cause it's been done before. The History series is a perfect example. I was watching this YouTuber called Totally Not Mark. He is a anime manga YouTuber. I believe he's also a writer. I think he reviews these things from a writer's point of view. And a lot of his commentary is about the storytelling, how it's presented. And here is a quote from one of his videos.
No one likes tension built upon a lack of communication. Bad communication at that. If your scenes are driven simply by two characters not being honest with one another, that can very, very easily feel incredibly frustrating for an audience member if done incorrectly. And this just wasn't the time or place for this.
So this quote right here, tension due to a lack of honest communication. This is what's happening in Star in My Mind. And if you saw my reaction to the last 3 episodes, I was frustrated with both episodes all the way through. All the way through. And the thing about it is, though, we were ping ponging between these two characters, mostly these two characters, and their feelings that they're not divulging to each other or working out. And I was getting more and more and more frustrated. I don't find that type of lack of communication and unspoken words and assuming things and not asking the right questions or not answering question thing to be any type of entertaining. It is frustrating. It is frustrating. And I think a lot of shows, they do that. A lot of these dramas, they do that. There's nothing else going on with the show, so they try to use this to pad the runtime, increase the tension between the characters, because they have to, make an episode count. So if it's like 16 episodes, they can't make things happen automatically. They have to burn, but at the same time, the characters have nothing else to do. Nothing else going on with them. Nothing to learn, nothing to grow. And I don't understand why. And I get it. I know these shows are, the Thai ones at least, are mostly adapted from novels. So they have to put the novel in a TV show format. So obviously they have to pad the runtime and do things. But I feel like they don't lend themselves to kind of grow the characters like they do in the History series. If you notice in History series, like History 2, Crossing the Line, we had our main lead. He had his struggles with not being able to play, volleyball anymore. Now he's a coach of the team. He's training his love interest, who's also like he's like a delinquent, chip on his shoulder, getting in trouble, but then he wanted to be better for his mom's sake, for his love interest's sake, and he had a reason to do all the things. And we were watching him train, get his academic up, work out his feelings towards his love interest. They both were trying to work their feelings out. Then the sister came into play. There was lots of different elements in the storyline, and had the characters grow and change over time. It had something to work towards. They have something to work towards to get over, either it be the volleyball training, get better, be a better volleyball player, or to kind of like work out their feelings for each other and see the potential that we could have with each other. And what's the youngest one? What's his name? I forgot his name, but he ended up confessing and really wanted to be with him. But then he told him no, and then he was crying. See, all these things were happening all together, and it kind of flowed better as far as the story because we had different things going on. We had different characters into play. We had different things happening, which makes me love it so much. That's why I love the history series. The character growth was so great, and even right or wrong, our characters in that one was he was bullied for being queer, and then his boyfriend you know threw him under the bus, and he thought he was unworthy of love all his life since then, and he has to overcome that. He tried to sabotage his relationship with old boy sometime after that, after they kind of got booed up because he was just so scared of being hurt. And then his love interest, his wife left him with his daughter, and he was not fulfilling his duty as a father. He was depressed, and he had to get over that, and he did, and it was a whole arcing thing, and it made it more interesting to me. It made these characters seem more real, something for them to overcome, to strive for. And I feel like lots of these Thai dramas, they don't care about that. And I feel like as viewers, lots of times, I feel like we don't either. I mean, I do, but I feel like to talk to my peers or seeing people's comments under videos or even on Twitter, everyone's taking things for face value sometimes and not really like no one's like questioning why are we spending so much time with these characters not saying nothing? Why is there so many dramatic pauses? Why are we, rooting for characters to be together when they're awful for each other? Why are we why are we not wanting more for these shows? I just don't understand. Maybe you guys can shed some light. Maybe you guys are, you would rather it stay close to the novel and you're like, it's fine. This will happen in the novel. Of course, they kind of pad the stuff out, but, it's because I feel like we've gotten past all these tropes that for me, it was frustrating back in the day when the shows will have like four couples, but we will spend time with only one, and then halfway through spend more time with the second couple. I'm talking about Love by Chance. I mean, other shows have done that too, but Love by Chance is the one that it was marketed as four couples, and the other two, even though they were all crunchy, honestly, like oh my god, but we only spent like this amount of time with each of the other one, and they pop in and out every so often for a second, if that. And even in Why Are You, there's like 20 couples in that, and it was just them hanging out. It was just them hanging out, and I feel like since we don't question that, or we kind of get caught up in the fan service, the skinship, the aesthetic of the actors, that we don't mind just watching them go on a shopping spree, doing arts and crafts, and going out to eat. I'm like, this isn't a story. There's nothing happening. It's like watching a YouTube channel, and I don't understand why it's. I'm not saying that I don't like shows who I consider there's a lack of story or boring to not be something I like. There's some shows I think are boring, but like Oxygen the series is so boring, but I really, really enjoy that show. But it's mostly because I like the characters. I guess that's probably what it is. I hate a show when it's boring and then unlikable characters. And even then, sometimes there's likable characters in the show, and that's not even saving it for me. I'm always like, oh my god, we ain't doing nothing here, and I think we're just so content of these shows being so boring. I don't know why. Another point I want to talk on. This is something that was brought up. I thought of during the run of Enchante. I noticed early on. Tio, his character, I really didn't like, and he was just, I think, an awful character, a person in general. Like he wasn't egregious. Like he wasn't like actively awful, but his personality, how he was just the worst. And you know, what I notice is, especially when I talk to my YouTube peers, it seems like whoever is set up to be, I guess, like the villain or could potentially ruin the ship, the in-game ship, is automatically met with frustration, and that's who gets the critique, not the main leads. Which I don't understand that. Like, what Pupa is that his name? In Enchanté, obviously him being like an Enchanté, one of the Enchantés was already like potential threat to the relationship of our main leads. Now, one, we know they're going to be in game, so all the other stuff didn't matter. But two, I was talking to my peers. It was early on, like maybe like episode 3-ish, and they were dragging Pupa's character for being in Tio's face and trying to like boo up to him and everything like that. And I'm just like, yeah, he's doing that, and like Tio don't like him, but we don't have no reason to dislike him. You know what I mean? There is no reason for us to dislike this character because he ain't do nothing. Maybe, understandably so, he is, potentially of a threat to the ship, I guess. But I don't know why he hasn't done anything for us to dislike him. And I feel like since he's set up as someone to dislike, we fall for that. And I feel like lots of these narratives do that. They have a potential love triangle, and we already know who's in game. It's not like they're going to switch it up and he ends up with the other person that's trying to flirt with him in any of these shows, which I wish they would do that because sometimes it's so frustrating when the third person in the love triangle treats one of the main leads so much better. Nice, respectful, the whole nine. And it's just so likable and so genuine and nice. And the whole fandom or the people watching the show, whatever the case may be, goes against that person because they're not in game. They're not the end game person that we know, the predetermined. Yeah, maybe in the novel people know who that is and they're kind of like, but the ones who are just watching the show, we still fall for that too. We're like, oh no no no, get away. It's like, damn, homeboy's really nice. His love interest treats him so bad, disrespect. But we're rooting for that. We really want that to happen. I don't understand why. And then sometimes these shows they go left with it. They like in was it Honey Puppy where Saint's character was so likable at first and they just turned him to a villain, like a cartoon villain at that. And it's like, okay, I guess we have to go against. But then we had to they did that so we can push the main leads together, even though Off's character was awful. That's why I made that video before about some ships don't need to sail. Honey Puppy, Enchanté, these ships that need to sail, the characters together are terrible. One half of the couple is just it's so disrespectful, so rude, condescending, a brat, like all these different things. But we want them to be together for what? Even now, not now, but like I was reacting to what's that show called? Fish Upon the Sky. I was like, I don't. Our main lead, he is annoying, but I'm like, okay, it's fine. He's not doing anything crazy. Even though he's such a he's a piece of work. But then his love interest, his in-game love interest, starts to be very I don't know, possessive and all his space, always touching him, won't leave him alone. It's set up to be like an enemies to lovers thing, but I don't like the enemies to lovers when the enemy is like just bothering the other person for no reason. I wish it was like they were rivals or something. There's a goal they want to reach to, and this person's in their way, and there's friction because of that. But when there's not that, and they're just popping up and bothering this person because they like them, I don't. I'm not into it, but as we're watching, everyone's like, ooh, into that kind of thing, and I just don't know why. Why don't we want more for these shows? Like, I don't know why we don't want more for these shows. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. It's like we get what we presented. Either it can go in the way of everyone's loving it and don't mind how awful the characters are, or sometimes the characters are intentionally awful for a commentary sake, like Tone Home, like his character was intentionally bad to make a point, but no one's understands that, so they just go against him. The show as a whole, the whole show is horrible because of one of the main leads being the way he is, and I'm just like, I don't. But there's other things that happen in that show. Why are we not? We're focused on what the obvious villain, the obvious problem, the problematic things he's saying. We're focused on that. as if it's not something that they're doing intentionally. You know what I mean? Like it's, and I'm not saying we all should have the same issues with shows the same way. I mean, there's some shows I think are just the bee's knees. They're so great, and I like them for particular reasons, and other people can find an issue with. Like I was talking about Gray Rainbow. My peers like, "Oh, this is so boring." I'm like, you go up and go ham for actually really boring shows. The truth of the matter is, these actors aren't, adolescent looking. The show isn't bright colored. You're used to a certain palette, and once it deviates from the palette, that's when you criticize the show when they're not giving you the same thing 14 times. Am I right? Am I right? Because it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I just want to talk to you guys about that. I just want to know what you guys think about that, the story structure, how the characters are presented, and what we respond to. Because it's so hard to keep interest in these shows when they do these type of things, or like I was watching, Cutie Pie. I haven't finished Cutie Pie. It's been so hard to get through that. There's no rhyme or reason to the characters' actions. There's a lot of manufactured tension due to lack of communication. There's padding. There's scenes that last so goddamn long and add nothing. You said one thing four different times in 15 minutes. Why are we saying the same thing different ways? Why are we doing monologues? You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. I don't understand. And I know not other shows aren't perfect, and there's, like I said, there's shows I think are just awful, but I like them. There's shows that I think are great. There's shows that I think, I like some of it, but I don't like most of it. Like, it's a give and take, and it's not one for one. But I just feel like overall, I guess it's my interaction with other people about these certain shows. I kind of don't understand what their reasoning is. Like, why are you living for this show with no plot line? Or there hasn't been a plot line for 4 episodes because they're trying to pad out because the episode count needs to be made. They're not doing anything. Maybe you don't mind that, but the same energy isn't kept from this show to the other show because this show is doing the same thing. Maybe it only lasted 1 episode and I'm fine with it, and the show you like lasted 6 episodes if nothing happened and you're like loving it, but you don't like this one because of what reason? You know what I mean? Like I just don't understand. I just don't understand. Maybe you guys can shed some light on this. Now with all that being said, I do want to do a video on talking about different tropes, and cliches in these dramas. Maybe do like I think I'm gonna do a 2-part video of good and bad tropes in these dramas. So let me know what tropes you guys love, which tropes you guys hate. Um, one of my I mentioned in this video the ones of the lack of communication trope. I don't like that at all. So I probably won't talk about that too much in another video. But one I really want to get into is the "I loved you all along" trope. I don't. Oh my god, I hate that. Some of visual tropes too. The whole unbuckling your seatbelt. We crash into each other. Those visual tropes that happen in the show that kind of like allude to something intimate, and then but they're not. Is you're just in someone's face and you got hot cheeto breath. But I'm gonna go online and see some tropes and see if what talking points I can talk about. But let me know what tropes you guys love, you don't love, what you want to see more of, which ones you wish they would have expanded on. Because there's some tropes and some cliches that happen that they could do in a different way or have a commentary about, a real thinking piece about. But yeah, let me know what you guys think below. I can't wait to see your suggestions, with your thoughts and opinions. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.